Hello, and welcome to our week one video. Yeah. So on this stream or on this video, we're going to be touching on a few introductions to C Sharp, to .NET ecosystem, Visual Studio Code, what we need to install on our systems, and generally about those stuff, right? So we're going to just dive right in because I'd like for us to not take a lot of time talking about um, things that aren't really necessary, right? So we're going to be touching on these things directly, right? So let me share my screen, and we're going to be diving right into introduction to um, that would be C sharp, right? All right, great. Yeah, so C sharp documentation, introduction to C sharp. As we all know, like I mentioned in our onboarding call, part of the requirements for joining this program is that you know the fundamentals of C sharp, right? But then I also try to make sure that I do not like streamline some persons who seem to who are trying to get anger fit, because I believe that it takes guts, takes willingness to learn to be able to achieve some of these things, right? So, more or less, we're going to use the first 2 weeks or stages to do like a brief introduction on the language and using it to build one or two things, right? Or writing a bit about it. So, that's what we're going to be doing. And then to learn about C sharp, the language, I have this website which I am going to be dropping in the bio section of this video at the end of this video. So if you want to learn more, you want to grasp more of the terminologies, more of the syntax, you can come to this website. It's the actual documentation by Microsoft, right? And there are some other videos that I've also dropped. But like we know so far, C Sharp itself is a language which we can use to write code, to build softwares and solutions, and in the .NET ecosystem, C Sharp is not the only language that's available, right? There is F Sharp, there's VB.NET, and I think maybe one or two others. But basically, for the program, we're going to be focusing on C Sharp and and .NET, right? And yeah, that is the beginning of what we're going to be touching on. Now, the .NET ecosystem itself or framework itself, or yeah, let me use the word framework, is a free cross-platform and open source framework that we could use to build just about any app. And I believe there was a question yesterday in the onboarding section that wanted to the person who asked wanted to know if we're going to be touching on some of these other things. But basically, no. We're not going to be touching on some of the other things, but then we're going to be touching mostly on backend APIs, right? So we're going to be using .NET to build our backend APIs. But then, with the knowledge of C Sharp and .NET, you should be able to build some other things, in the ecosystem, right? You should be able to build. I'm going to just zoom this in a bit. Okay, this is fine. So you should be able to build webs, mobile application, desktop application, microservices. So we're going to be touching mostly on web and microservices. We should be able to build cloud applications. Not sure about that. I'm not sure we're going to be touching on some cloud applications, but we might be able to, you know, push some of our applications to the cloud so that we can share it amongst our friends and the community at large. Then machine learning, game development, and Internet of Things. Actually, I'm really, what's the word I'm trying to look for here? You know, trying to, okay, let's not make this complicated. I'm really curious about that space, Internet of Things, right? But I've not had the time to look into it. I'm curious about mobile applications, especially now with Maui. I've not had the time to look at it as well. But then these are options that are available to you in the .NET ecosystem. To start your .NET learning journey. It's available also on this website. I'm going to drop this on the bio section or the comment section of this video at the end of the video. Um, yeah, Nougat. We must have heard of this. Visual Studio and then Azure, right? These are some of the um, stuff that are available to us to help us build, you know, solutions and softwares and programs that would help us in the community at large, right? Nuggets, a repository of little solutions or softwares or libraries. Libraries is the word, yeah. If you go to nuggets.org, you should get some of those libraries. Some are created by Microsoft, and some have been created by the open source community, right? So you don't need to write the code anymore since they're already there. All you need to do is just install them in your application or add them to your application, and then you should be able to use them for whatever you want to do. We're going to be using a whole lot of NuGet packages while working in this program. Visual Studio is the IDE that's recommended for this program. We're going to talk a bit about it, but then depending on your PC and the strength of your PC, you might want to use Visual Studio Code, but then if your PC is strong enough, Visual Studio is recommended. Azure's the cloud platform where we can host our solutions. Like I said, we might host some of our solutions. I might put you through how to do that. In any case, let's see how it goes. Um, but if you're able to do that, then you should be able to share your solutions with some of your friends, community, employers, and all of that. Um, yeah, so that's like a brief introduction to .NET, right? We're going to now we would go to Visual Studio um, itself to talk a bit about it. Like I mentioned, but before we come to Visual Studio, let's say that you're using Visual Studio Code. You could get the .NET framework or SDK from this website. If you do not already have it on your system, you would need it, right? Right now, the most recent version of the .NET SDK is version 7.0, but that's it's not a LTS, that's long-term support version. So most persons are still using version 6.0. But it's up to you to decide what you want to use. You might want to use version 7.0, you might want to use version 6.0, but then you can get any of them from this website, right? So this is if you want to use version 7.0, but if you want to go to version 6.0, I think all you need to do is go back to .NET. We should take you to this part of the website, and then you click on version 6.0, which was released. Um, year, and the end of support will be year. So as you can see, end of support for version 7.0 is before end of support version 6.0, because version 6.0 is LTS. So you might decide to use the LTS one instead of the standard STEM one. Right, so but then I believe version 8 will be coming out soon, so you just keep an eye out on the platform and then use whichever version you want to use. But then um, you have to get at least one of them, at least one of them on your PC to be able to work with .NET. Now, if you do have that, and that with that you should be able to work with Visual Studio Code on your PC, depending on your operating system. If you're using a Windows system, you use this Mac, Linux, and any of the other ones. If you're using a MacBook, so for Visual Studio Code is lightweight. You should be able to run on just about any PC, and you can get it here. But for Visual Studio, which is recommended, it's only available on Windows and Mac. I'm not sure why it's not available on Linux, and that's actually hurting me because I actually want to start using Linux operating systems. I've been holding back because of lack of availability of the Visual Studio ID on Linux. But anyways, let's see what happens. So if you're using a MacBook or a Windows system that's capable of running Visual Studio, then you can get it from here. So I'm able to get the community edition, which is free, because professional and enterprise editions are paid for, right? So if you use the community edition, which is free, and you just click on it, it gets once you click on it, you get what's it called? You get the installer downloaded on your PC. When you run the installer, I'm just going to run you through the game. So, let me see. So when you get the installer, you should get yep, should get something that looks like this. Although I already have it on my system, so you wouldn't already get the community installed in the system, so you get one of the versions installed. So I installed the community edition, like I mentioned. But once you have that installed, it's supposed to take you to a different screen that looks like this. I'm gonna pull that up in a second. So it's getting to see. So this screen, I have those that installed on my PC to be able to use um, Visual Studio for my development, right? So you need this ASP.NET and web development. You need that installed on your PC, and in case you want to use any other thing, you can have like this for Maui, this for development. See any other thing you want to do, you can see for game development. You have some workloads that you might want to have in PC laptop. Then right here you see a button that says install. So let me just pick something else and see what happens. Yeah, so it says so for mine it's saying modify, but then for yours it might say install if you do not have it already on your PC. And then you have that installed and you have Visual Studio on your system. All right. Yeah, so I think that's just that about all of the introductions that are available. Let me see again. Mm. Okay, so yeah, that's just about the introductions that are available. Like I mentioned, there's some you have to go through the documentation if you're trying to catch up, or there's some videos that was dropped on the Slack channel. You have to go through those as well if you're trying to catch up. Giving like 2 weeks or less to those who want to brush up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the help channel or in the stage one channel so that we could help everyone catch up. And then when we start working on APIs, then we'd have everybody come along with us. Um, for our next call, We're going to do a little bit of introduction to um, ESP.NET development. We're going to be building some console apps and some stuff, but that'll probably be next week Saturday. But for now, um, I'm going to. Do I need to show you what you need to install on Visual Studio Code? Okay, you know what? If you're seeing this video and you want me to do another video on what you need to install in your Visual Studio Code, then do let me know, and then I'll probably do that tutorial for us. But in the meantime, what I want us to do is to try to catch up with some of the resources that we already have. The tasks for this week, and this stage will be dropped in the Slack channel this evening, so we can just start picking it up and start, catching up and trying to do, trying to move to the next stage, right? Because then I think it's on stage three that we'll start developing APIs fully. Thank you very much, everyone. It was nice catching up with you guys. Let's see some other time. Have a nice day. Bye.